Hi, it's Stacy from familieswithgrace.com, and I wanted to talk with you today about spring break. So spring break is coming up. In fact, as I am recording this, my kids are at their last day of school before their spring break starts tomorrow because their spring break is really early in the year. But I have been thinking about some ideas. So I have 20 different spring break activities and ideas for at home. So you don't have to leave home to have a fun spring break. And it definitely, spring break can be a time for travel, but it can also be fun at home. So whether you're staying home by choice or for budgetary reasons this year, I've got some spring break activities that will keep your family entertained and making memories. And you don't even have to pack a suitcase. All right, but before we start, let's talk about a few things if you are going to do a staycation spring break where you're staying at home. The first rule is that you need to treat it like an actual vacation, and that means no work, no chores. Okay, you might have to do some things like, dishes and food preparation and maybe even some laundry. But do your best to treat the time like you would if you were not at home. You can also designate your staycation days if you're not able to take the entire week off. Just plan for your spring break activities to be Monday through Wednesday or whatever works for you. Whatever you pick, talk about it so you, your spouse, and your kids are all on the same page and know what to expect. Another neat idea that we have done in the past and we're actually doing again this year is a combination of vacation and staycation. So we will spend a couple of nights away on a family trip and then a few days at home for spring break. It's the best of both worlds and quite literally exactly what my children opted to do this year when we gave them a variety of choices. So our family does like to have a meeting ahead of time to talk about what we would most like to do for spring break in general, and then also specifically once we have decided on our main plan. It helps us to prioritize our time and our budget for spring break activities. So you can give kids a list to pick from or just ask them for ideas or both. And then the final thing to remember before we get started is that just don't forget that simple activities can be just as fun as more complicated ones. My kids' biggest request for the staycation part of our spring break this year were two things. My daughter said going to eat hibachi, and my son said playing games together. Pretty simple requests that we can fulfill, and it doesn't have to be anything extravagant or over the top. All right, so let's get started with our ideas. Number 1. Go see a movie. So we love movies in my family, and whether you're going to the theater or you're watching something at home, a good movie is a great spring break activity. Find a movie you'll all enjoy, have snacks at the ready, and have fun. Number 2, check out local exhibits. So we live in a mid-sized Midwestern city. We're not overwhelmed with choices of exhibits to visit, but there are always a few things going on. In fact, we have one art exhibit that we've been talking about checking out and haven't had the time for probably the last year. It's an interactive exhibit in which you get to paint and do things. That sounds really neat. We just haven't made it happen. So spring break can be a really great time to do those sorts of activities that you don't have time for or make the time for otherwise. Number 3. Explore other nearby cities. So because we do live in a city that is not so big, exploring other nearby cities is a good option as well. We can drive an hour north or an hour south and be in bigger cities that have more activities and more things to do. Then we can come back home and sleep in our own cozy beds. So where you go will really depend on what you do. But think about children's museums, zoos, aquariums, and any other family-friendly venue. You can even look for some interesting museums. There's one not too far from us that is actually a dollhouse museum, or there's like a CSI sort of museum, and those sorts of things can be interesting as well. Number 4, eat out. So thanks to meal planning, preference, and time constraints, my family typically only eats out on Sundays after church. Some weeks we do have another meal out as well, but we don't eat out very much these days. When we travel though, that has definitely changed. We do eat out more often. So another great spring break idea for home is going out to eat. Go somewhere special or different or try a new restaurant. Something else you can do that my kids really love whenever we travel is they love going into gas stations and picking out snacks. So that could be a really fun activity to do, like maybe before you're watching a movie or playing games or just for a fun afternoon, I guess. Just let them go pick out some snacks at a gas station. All right, number 5, have a board game day, afternoon, or evening. So we love playing board games in our family. They can be a great way to pass the time and make some great family memories. Use games you already have. You can buy a new one, you can make one up, you can probably even print one out from online. Number 6, try a new recipe. Spring break can be a great time to try out new recipes together as a family. Even better, find a simple recipe your whole family can prepare together, like pizza subs, peanut butter honey nut cereal clusters, or puppy chow, all of which you have recipes for here on familieswithgrace.com, and links in the description if you're on YouTube. For even more family recipes that are awesome, you want to make sure that you sign up for and get the free copy of Favorite Recipes from Family with Grace cookbook, because it has some really great things in there that you will love. I've got a link for that for you as well. All right, number 7, set up an obstacle course. So during remote learning, we had a gym assignment to set up an obstacle course at home. It was actually much easier than I had expected, and we had way more fun with it than I had anticipated. Since then, we've done this a couple of other times. So you can use chairs, pillows, or whatever you have around the house and just make a simple obstacle course. If you want, time each other to see who can do it the fastest. Another thing that we tend to do is kind of evolve and change the obstacle course as we go as well. And it's just been something fun. In fact, one challenge we did with our last obstacle course was my husband challenged himself basically, and our kids were super excited about this, to keep a toss pillow on his head while he went through the entire obstacle course. And the deal was that if he did it, then my daughter had to call her friends and tell them how awesome her dad is. That was the deal that they made. So I'm proud to say he did it completely, and she had to call her friends. So, all right, just a fun option. Number 8, have an indoor camp out. So if you live somewhere warm, you can totally have an outdoor camp out as well. But for those of us who are in colder weather, an indoor camp out is probably a better spring break activity. Pull out sleeping bags, air mattresses, or whatever works and sleep in the same room together. We used to camp out in our living room at our other house, and then now we camp out in our bedroom. But wherever it is, it's just something fun and different. Number 9, buy some souvenirs. So our kids really love buying souvenirs when we travel. They don't have to be big purchases, but just something. So make souvenirs part of spring break at home. You can hit up the Dollar Tree and let them pick out something, or even budget a set amount of money for souvenirs and head to their favorite store or stores. Don't forget a little something for yourself and your spouse too, because it's also your staycation. Number 10, go to the playground. So going to the playground can be a great spring break activity to help burn off some energy. Keep a check on the weather and definitely pick a good time to go. You can let your kids pick which playground they want to go to, and then plan to let an hour or so, letting them just have some fun. Be sure to get involved with them as well. You can push them on the swings, you can go down the slide with them, whatever you really enjoy. One of my favorite things to do is to swing along with my children, which of course I don't do if there are lots of other kids because I want to be fair. But when it's just us or just a few people, then yeah, I join them on the swings because that's really fun. All right, number 11. Play video games together. So if you're a video gaming family, at least some of you, then play together. Recently, my son was super excited to play Minecraft with my husband and me. It was a treat for him to share that with us, and we all had fun with it. Another great video game option is to have one person be in charge of the controller and everyone helps decide what he or she does. So for example, we had a blast probably about a year ago playing Monopoly on the Xbox. My husband had the controller and was the one in charge of doing the controls, but we all were playing as one player against other computer players. So our whole family talked strategies and made decisions for what to do in the game. We did end up winning though. It was a little close. I will tell you though, it was incredibly fun. So that's another great option for video games. Number 12, go to the library. Okay, I'm a writer and my favorite pastime is reading, so this is gonna have to be on there. But libraries really are awesome resources and can be so much fun over spring break. If your town or city is small enough, chances are your library probably has some spring break activities of their own planned with extra story times and crafts and things like that. So you can definitely check out those, or even just go for regular story times, or get books to read together or individually or both over the break. My kids always liked to play at the library when they were smaller. Our libraries offer a variety of toys and imaginative play items that were always a hit. They're getting a little bit too old for that now, but exploring the toys at the library is a great idea as well. Number 13, try geocaching. So geocaching was super popular a few years ago, but it is still around now. We've had some fun with geocaching as a family, and hint, it can also be a great date night for parents. Download a geocaching map or app and find locations around you. We have been super surprised at the places we have found items, and our kids really enjoy it. And what's neat is if you're doing geocaching around where you live in your town or your area, then you go by those places later on and you can talk about it and be like, hey, remember when we found the geocache at that place? That was so crazy. So that's kind of a neat way to make memories as well. All right, number 14 is to get crafty. So crafts are not really my jam, but small art projects together as a family really can be fun, and even I enjoy them. So color together at the kitchen table, use some of the craft kits you probably inevitably have stockpiled around your house. I know we do. Make cards or sweet crafts to send to grandparents, or just whatever you enjoy. If you really are into painting, or if you're into working with clay or whatever. Play-Doh obviously is a great idea as well. Number 15, volunteer. So spending time together helping others is a great spring break activity. Not only do you get a chance to impact your community, but you show your kids the importance of helping others, and you get that warm, fuzzy feeling as a result. Number 16, have a family yes day. Having a family yes day can be great fun for kids and adults alike, I promise. So just pick a day where you say yes to whatever your kids ask to do. We've done this a couple of times and do have some rules. For example, the kids cannot ask us to travel out of town or spend more than a set amount of money on something. We've been pleasantly surprised, though, at how well they work together and the fun activities that they come up with. I have more about how to plan a family yes day over on familieswithgrace.com. There's a link for you in the description on YouTube. Number 17. Make videos. So speaking of YouTube and videos, you don't have to publish these because on Family Yes Day, one of the things that we did on our most recent one was make movies together. So my daughter and I paired up, and my husband and son paired up, and then each pair picked a song for the other pair to lip sync to and then make a video of. We had a lot of fun making the videos and then watching them together. I'm not going to share them publicly because they're kind of silly, but it was super fun and great family memories. All right, number 18, have a cake decorating contest. So if your family is like mine, we enjoy watching baking shows on television, and a cake decorating contest can be a really fun activity. I mean, my son doesn't enjoy it so much, but he really does enjoy cake, so why not? We do enjoy seeing contestants bake and decorate cakes, so we tried our hand at it. Basically what I do is just bake a cake and I put it in 2 pans like it would be for 2 layers, and then each pair, because our family is of 4, we break up into pairs and each pair gets a cake and a bowl of homemade buttercream icing. Recipe for that as well. We pick a design to copy the first time and we got to work on it. And then without telling them who decorated which cake, we sent the photos of the final versions to my parents and to my husband's parents so they could pick a winner. But you don't have to pick a winner. You can just have fun with it and just decorate cakes together. And you can even use store-bought cake and cupcakes or cookies along with canned icing to make it even easier. No matter what, it's not only a great spring break activity that will help you make memories, but you result in having some sweet treats in the end, which is always a good thing. Number 19, plan some intentional one-on-one time. So when our kids were really young, we started having what we called one-on-one playtime. We'd set a timer for 30 minutes and separate, so each child got one parent for half an hour. Then we'd switch kids and parents. During their 30 minutes with each parent, our children got to pick what we played and what we did. It's a bit different now that they're 10 and 13, but they both still enjoy having us to themselves. So you can spend this time together talking, playing, reading, or whatever you like to do to connect with one another. And finally, number 20 is to be lazy. I know, but we all need downtime. And some of my favorite memories with my kids have come when we're being lazy together. Put down electronic devices and see what you come up with wanting to do. Maybe you talk, or maybe you tell silly jokes. Maybe you put on a talent show or have a dance party. Unstructured time with kids can result in the most awesome moments. All right, and that's all that I have for you today. Please make sure that you like and subscribe for some more great content for families to help you build homes filled with grace, faith, and love. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.